Hi, good evening, and thanks to Rashid and the British Library, who've done quite a lot to promote, I mean, not just black entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurship amongst the whole of the London community and beyond. Okay, everybody wants to hear about colour telly. Obviously, that's my latest venture, as it were. So I'll start from there. August the 1st, we launched. It's an internet television channel. At the moment, it's 2 channels. We launched Colour Telly 1, August the 1st. September the 1st, we launched Colour Telly 2. We're getting ready to launch the 3rd of several channels to come. The way it started, basically I was at a meeting at a leading broadcasters last year, a meeting of a black caucus group, and we realized that basically the whole abolition of slavery or whatever, as it is actually the bicentenary of the abolition of the Slave Trade Act, because that's what it was, a debate about the slave trade. That's what we're commemorating. We realized that the whole agenda was going to be taken away from us pretty quickly, and it wasn't going to be about millions of black people who fought their way out of bondage, etc., but that it was all going to be about a white guy, and we were incensed, naturally. And this senior broadcaster, she looked directly in my direction. I think she was talking to us all, but she happened to be facing me, so I took it as a message from above that you have to do something about this. And within the black community, we've many years of frustration at the way that our community has been depicted by the mainstream media, but we've never ever done anything about it, beyond 1 or 2 newspapers, fair enough. Now, the biggest threat to the young black community in Britain today, I'm afraid, is the media. The way it portrays young black men and women is outrageous. I mean, the other day, as you know, The Independent had on its front page that black people were half as intelligent as white people, and that's the same newspaper that we take seriously. And if some mad scientist, because that's all it was, were to say that, look, little green men popped out of the sky, and the Independent put that on its front page, we wouldn't take it seriously. So we have to find some form of media that we can take seriously. A young man called Nana Dankwa, who happens to be my wife's godson, kept saying to me, hey man, the internet, man, the internet, it's ready, man, it's ready. And I'm like, you know, what are you talking about? No, the internet, man, it's got to be on the internet. You've got to do a TV station, man, you've got to do it, you know, the internet's ready. He'd been saying this to me for about 3 or 4 years, and finally the penny dropped sometime about last August after this meeting, and I thought, okay, Nana, here's some cash, let's go for it. The cash, incidentally, came directly from my own home, because myself and my wife decided to remortgage our home. Incidentally, I'm going to go and see Mr. HSBC, man, later on. I'll be at the front of the queue, trust me. Okay, so we remortgaged our house, which is a crazy thing to do when you've got 2 young daughters, but we were as passionate about what the future holds for our 2 young daughters in this country as what it holds for any young black girls in this country. So let me tell you how I got into this. I'm going to go backwards now. Colour Telly is my latest venture, myself and my wife. 15 years ago, I launched a publishing company called The Express, infamous for such books as Yardie, that I know a lot of people may have read here. Yardie, Baby Father, that was made into a TV series, Cop Killer, of which we went and perhaps got our best bit of promotion, which was to send 200 bullets out in the post to the press. They weren't, you know, there was no gunpowder in the bullets, so it was a really clever promotion, but not everybody. This was in the time before the latest 2001 change of the world, but in the days when you could do that sort of thing. Of course, the press were up in arms, and Darcus Howe had us on Devil's Advocate and accused us of being the Barrow Boys of publishing, and I said, Darcus, it's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to us. Then he pulled a gun out on me to see how does it feel, etc. As I said, it was a great bit of publicity. So we were the bad boys of publishing, and we still are in a way. Within the black community, we've published something like 200 titles, probably 150 of which were first-time authors, because we did whatever else the other publishing companies weren't willing to do. They weren't willing to develop first-time authors, so we did it ourselves. We have 3 imprints at the moment that are running. There's a classics imprint of black classic books, and there's a Naya imprint of more upmarket, if you like, very literary black books. We had a non-black imprint as well, because like everybody else, we realized that 95% of our market in this country are not black. So we had a imprint called 2020, in which we published a few books, but we quickly lost interest. And this is important. Whatever you do as a business, you have to have the passion for it. I clearly, as I'm sure you realize from what I've said, have got a passion for black business. I've got a passion from it because that's the community I come from. That's the community I know. And that's the community that's not being serviced. How I feel, if you want to succeed in business, is that you go and find out what everybody else isn't doing. I remember that guy who started up Car Phone Warehouse. The one quote that I've got from him is that he was thanking all the other big phone companies for not realizing back in the day when they thought that car phones would only be used by plumbers and builders, how wrong they were. And he thought, well, thanks very much for making me a billionaire, because I realized that actually the market would be ordinary people who'd want to talk to each other through a phone and so on. So you can pick up little bits of... I know, but back then, it must have seemed incredible. I could tell you, in 1983, when I returned to Britain after doing a degree in literature in Scandinavia, I met an old school friend of mine, John Rawlings, and he said to me, Dotun, I've got this great business that I want you to be part of. And he said, you know, I want you to be selling these things called facsimile machines. Now, this was right at the beginning. I could not get my head around how the paper goes down the phone line. He kept saying to me, no. He kept saying, this is going to be the next big thing, trust me, and I couldn't see it. Of course, he became a millionaire. That was my first school friend to become a millionaire, and I kicked myself for a long time afterwards. I realized at that point, actually, if you don't understand it, it doesn't mean that it's not going to work. It's an important thing to learn all along the way. I mean, if you don't know about computers now, you're nowhere. But think about it 15 years ago. Again, I just started the Express, the publishing house, and a couple of young white guys came in and said, look, you're going to need these things. Everybody's going to be using them soon. It's basically email address. Am I running out of time? You are. You have. I'm just getting into my stride.
Our broadcaster.
Yeah, no, it's not just that. I was making my pitch to our bank friends here. And do you know, it's really horrible when the bank manager cuts you off in the middle of your pitch. So I'll be very brief. About 15 years ago, the guy came in and said, you know, you're going to need these. You know, they're electronic message mailboxes, And for goodness, I looked at my business partner, Steve, and he looked at me and I was like, nah, electronic mailboxes. Of course, that became the email. And I was one of probably the first ones to see an email and have an opportunity to use an email, and I turned it down. So let me just tell you a few things very quickly. I'll sum up if you like, my few tips for business success. Definitely you've got to do your research. If you don't do your research, you're headed for a blind tunnel, you know, and a really big crash. This is an excellent place to do that research, by the way. Secondly, you've got to have a passion for what you're going to do. I mean, it's okay not to know about something, but you can learn about it. And I think eventually as you learn about it, you'll have a passion. You'll find out why other people are so passionate about it as well. You've got to be a bit of a gambler. If you're not willing to risk your home, then don't go into business. Everybody says, well, you're crazy risking your home. But as far as I'm concerned, that's just bricks and mortar, whereas your business can be so many other things. And I really mean that. I really mean that your business can inspire so many other people and bring in so many other people. Terry Martin, who's from Colour Telly doing the filming over there, I told her this morning she was the very... first person that I hired when we started Colour Telly, and I can tell you she's amazing. And I think if you give people the opportunity, they'll take it. And one famous American business philosopher said, he died last year, by the way. Famous American business philosopher said, your greatest equity is in the people that you have working around you. And I think that's the truth. Yeah.
Thank you, Dotun. Thank you very much. Thank you.